Hi, my name is Jenna Bemis. I'm a psychologist and I'm also a mindfulness teacher. Over the 20 years of my study and practice of the human experience, I've had the privilege to train at some of the world's top institutions. And from this, I have some great news to share with you about the human experience, as well as some not so good news. And then I'd like to present with you a project that I have been developing along with some of my colleagues aimed at improving the well-being of Americans. So the good news is that we are progressing at stunning rates in the areas of information technology, medical research, and science. Our intelligence is actually increasing generation per generation. So that's really exciting, and we all know this. We know that the US is the world leader in technology, medicine, and economics. What we're not leading in, and we're actually really lagging behind in, is well-being. We experience more physical ailments related to obesity, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and psychological problems such as depression, anxiety, substance abuse disorders, ADD, and a host of other problems. So we are getting actually more miserable decade per decade and even year by year, with suicide rates at their highest in the last couple of decades. So we're doing something wrong in this field of human experience and well-being if we're not actually improving the happiness and peace between people, peace within people, and in our communities. So I'd like to talk with you a little bit about some ideas that I've developed and what we can actually do that is localized, comprehensive, generalizable, and practical in order to increase happiness and well-being and peace within our communities. So I'll give you just a little bit of background information on what's contained up here. In addition to my professional studies, I'm admittedly quite a knowledge junkie and like to keep myself a little bit informed about a variety of topics such as neuroscience, studies of consciousness, world religion, politics, economics, information technology, biomedical, biomechanical engineering, genetics, mathematics, linguistics, and ethics, for example. And so what I've really done is gather a lot of information from a lot of different resources to try to see with the best mind's eye that I can where our true solutions lie. So bear with me for a little bit of teaching. So what we're seeing with technology is this exponential growth rate. So instead of linear growth being step by step by step, with each step being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, building on the next, what we're seeing is this exponential increase of 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. And Ray Kurzweil has predicted stunning advances in our next 20, 25 years, which would be one generation. So if we are progressing at that intellect level, but we're not progressing at the mind and body and social level, we're going to really lag behind ourselves in terms of being a whole human. And what this looks like is if you are to take one step, being 1 meter for 30 linear feet, you gain 30 meters over 30 steps. But if instead of on a linear scale, you're on an exponential scale, and you take 30 exponential steps, and each step is 1 meter, you've actually taken enough steps to cross the globe 26 times. So we need to do things that help accelerate our social and emotional intelligence and that are better at nourishing the human heart and spirit, because we're suffering and we're struggling and we're not knowing how to stay connected to one another as we become more connected in the ways of information in the world. So what are we going to do about this? Well, I believe that there are already many advances going on in the world that give us the solutions. It isn't that we don't have enough happiness science. It isn't as though the practices are not available and freely taught on the world. It's that we're having a problem putting it all together as individuals, as families, and communities. And I really believe that it is because we don't have enough support for doing it. We have the knowledge. We have mindfulness spreading throughout the world, and that's associated with great outcomes, both in terms of quality of life, reducing medical problems, which helps reduce the financial burden of those in our society. And then also, when we're thriving, we are leading to more economic generativity. So that's available in the US. We have great advances in medicine and nutrition available in the US, but we're getting sicker and sicker. So what I believe is needed is a systematic approach to helping people have more health and well-being within themselves and within our homes, within our communities. So I have worked with several colleagues over the last couple of years, and we're very excited to continue our own momentum of development and start to roll this out to other potential interested participants and investors. And what this looks like is a 6-branch program that is aimed at creating wellness centers for mind, body, and spirit to serve local communities, and then having those wellness centers feed into greater retreat centers where participants can come for more extended stays, extended wellness retreats, or learning workshops. And also aiming that retreat center as a training institution where we can collect some of the greatest sources from across our nation and across the globe, and then disseminate that wisdom and those practices to teachers, people in the healing sciences, and other trainers for developing the spread of these kinds of really social and emotional technologies. So then you have your hubs for where information happens. And then the goal would be to build structures around that interface with economics, education, technology, and community living. And also that get us back to nature, that get us back to being out in our environments, nourishing ourselves better with the plants and animals that are available to us. And really, as I said, building our sort of connection between each other. And that connection between each other is going to require that we draw on some of these advances that are being made in peace communications. And I believe that we also need to make a shift in terms of how we're approaching religion in our country. We've become so non-denominational, and we've started to let go of what is most precious and sacred to each of us along our own particular paths in efforts to try to have more harmony and more ability to navigate people having differences around us. And I think that that's problematic because what's happening is we're diluting what's most important and most sacred rather than honoring that in ourselves and learning to find common ground and workability with each other. So I think that we need to shift to a pan-denominational approach where we honor each tradition in sort of better ways that can lead to better peace and understanding and collaboration in our diverse world. So that's a little glimpse. That might be a lot to think about, but all of this stuff is, as I said, sort of readily available in our world. And I really believe that it's just a matter of us working together to create comprehensive and structured approaches that, as I said, make this deliverable and practical and doable in the lives around us. What you see is people struggling to sort of integrate nutrition and exercise and getting enough sleep and working with their families and nourishing their spirits and maybe traveling to different specialists for different health ailments. And we're running ourselves ragged. It doesn't need to be this way. I believe that we can act on the revolution that's already started in our world around us for wellness and happiness and peace, and do this in a way that brings us together, brings solutions together across a lot of different domains of fields of study, and actually ends up harmonizing us as people for our own sense of meaning and purpose, and also our sense of belonging. We are so much more capable of doing great things together than separate. And actually, to leave you with a little bit of insight into how some of these things can work in terms of this new endeavor would be to partner psychophysiologists with particle physicists. What we know from particle physics is that, for example, color has wavelength. We're starting to learn from psychophysiologists that emotion has wavelength. And when we get those kinds of people together, what they end up doing is they end up studying and seeing that colors in our environment actually throw off physical energy that is received by us as beings that have physical energy and impact things like our mood. Mood, again, is energy. Low energy is depression. High energy can be vigor, or if it's associated with agitation and worry, it can be anxiety. And so if we start to collaborate to really understand these things and provide solutions, we can see things like color therapy coming in to help aid people with depression and anxiety. As I said, these things are already being done. It's just that we don't have a really comprehensive way of doing this under one roof for a local community and then under multiple replicable roofs across communities. But we can do this. And I'll leave you with a quote that hopefully inspires you to partner with me and my colleagues by Albert Einstein. And this is that everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, it is physics. And so with that, my hope is that if you feel that you're on the same wavelength with wanting to make these kinds of changes, you will contact us at projectevolve.com and projectevolve@gmail.com. And hopefully we can continue to snowball this dialogue and get as many of our best, brightest minds together to work on this project as possible. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.